I've been nominated on the steering committee of YPAD, which is more of the board of directors of YPAD. YPAD is young professionals in agriculture development. Young professionals in agriculture development is in more than 50 countries across the globe. We are in Africa, we are in Asia, Latin America, we are in Europe. Literally, we are in most countries. So it would be important. It would be important if you don't know about the network to really come in and join. When you look at YPAD, it's a network of young people for young people. So it's us, young people, helping young people. So don't expect someone who is 50 plus years to be a member of YPAD. However, everyone is welcome to join. Even if you're more than 50 years, it's fine. You can always join as an advisor. So I'm really happy to have you all. So today's session, as you can see here, we're going to mainly look at collective action for our land, our future. And we are looking at empowering marginalized voices through inclusive land restoration. Each one of us has different things that we are doing in terms of land restoration. And we are trying to see how do we put all those efforts together? Can we get to know what each one of us is doing? So that's why we're here. It's more of an experience sharing session. It's more of an interactive session. So don't expect too many of the presentations. As young people, as people who feel like our voices have been marginalized for a very long time, we need now to get to know what can we do as young people. If you're doing something, can we all work together into doing something? So that's why we are here, and we are going to have a number of panelists, both physical and online. So some colleagues are joining us online, others are physical. I'll start by introducing my panelists. I have a number of panelists, and because I want it to be so much interactive, so much of a discussion, I will have one panelist at a time, and I'll read their bio. So our first panelist will be Mr. Wilfred. Mr. Wilfred, I will ask you to come and take a seat here. Perhaps you can use that. Okay, thank you very much. As you've seen, Mr. Wilfred is our country representative of YPAD. I'll remind you, YPAD is Young Professionals in Agriculture Development for Benin. I'm going to give him this microphone. I usually don't like reading people's bio because sometimes we make it too brief. Sometimes we misinterpret some things. So, Mr. Wilfred, I'll start up with you. Please tell us, this question normally comes up in interviews. Please, this is not an interview, so don't feel put on the spot. Who is Mr. Wilfred?
Okay, thank you very much. And I would like to say good morning to all our participants. Mr. Wilfred is, I'm from Benin Republic. I'm running currently my PhD degree in agroforestry. And as a member of YPAD, I have the chance to attend a lot of conferences. And the one that I attended lastly is the Science Partnerships for Agricultural Conference, which held in Rwanda. And also I was involved in diverse activities in my country. This includes some restoration and some awareness sessions through our channel in Benin. So that's what I can say concerning myself as briefly.
That's so interesting. I'm really happy to meet you in person for the first time and hoping to hear from you. So as we're looking at collective action for our land and our future, and you know very well as young people, we are really the future. I always tell people the future is today. That's why we are acting now and not waiting for so many years. So Wilfred, I want you to share with us some practical ways how we can ensure marginalized communities have a genuine voice in the planning and decision-making of restoration projects. In this context, I want you to share with us your personal experience, what you're actually doing as of now. And I understand you've prepared some presentation for us. So request you maybe to stand up there
Okay.
and now make your presentation here.
Okay. Thank you very much. Um, let's stay here. Okay. Thank you very much again. My name is Wilfried Kende Ajimoti. I'm from Benin Republic, and I'm part of Young Professional for Agricultural Development. Ladies. Okay, I'm going to answer these questions. What are some practical ways to ensure marginalized communities have a genuine voice in the planning and decision-making of restoration project? So to answer that questions, I will start with this first presentation. It's very important, firstly, to empower marginalized communities. And this can be done by fostering inclusive communication platform that prioritize marginalized voice and ensuring their active participation in restoration and planning decision making. It's also important to make some training, like cultural relevant training, which is part of some design training program, aligned with local traditional and knowledge, while empowering communities to sustainable management restoration efforts. And the last point for empowering marginalized communities is resource allocation. We all know that without resource, it's quite impossible to realize some activities. So for that, we will make sure that equitable and distribution of financial and technical resources enable marginalized groups to contribute effectively to restoration projects. Then youth also have his own roles to play in this issue, this challenge. And the first role is it's very important to equip youth with restoration knowledge and leadership skills to empower marginalization communities and foster sustainable development. And secondly, as YPAD members, we used to attend some conferences and to share our knowledge. Then it seemed to be very important also to use those youth-led network to amplify voice of underrepresented group and advocate for equitable participation in restoration projects. And lastly, we all know that we are in the era of intelligence artificially with some technologies. So implement digitalized platform to engage, mobilize, and support marginalized community in restoration efforts also will be very useful. I will end my presentation because I don't have enough time. I just have 5 minutes with one of the projects that we are conducting in Benin currently, which can be seen as a case study for this. What's the project? The project is called Fungal Conservation in Sub-Saharan Africa, which is financed by Darwin Initiative. And the project overview is to collaborating efforts targeting conservation of wild fungi while address some critical issues that we are facing like gender inequality and poverty. So for that, what we are doing, the first thing that we are doing is community driving nursery. We involve diverse community into the establishment of the nursery of local trees that we are planting to restore the habitat of those fungi. And secondly, we focus on gender equality by promoting balanced participation in training and project activities. We used to involve the women community into some activities to train them also even on mushroom cultivation. This is important for them to empower their economic status and also to be able to meet the need of their households. And lastly, what is the positive outcome of this? We were able to achieve biodiversity conservation and strong gender equity. So this, I will end my presentation with this. Maybe we will have some questions to go deeply. I would like to thank YPAD, IDOS Interface Project through FARA, the University of Bonn, Fungal Conservation in Sub-Saharan Africa project, and also my tips, which is my laboratory. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Wilfred.
Yeah.
This is really very inspiring. And I love the fact that you're looking at equitable solutions. I love the fact that you're looking at gender equality. Hopefully in ensuring gender equality, you're not forgetting the men. Because most of us usually focus on the women and we forget the men. And it would be good to make sure that also the men are involved. Maybe if you have a brief, are you engaging the men also?
Well, we are involved in men with some quotas for some percentage. For example, we also take in each of those some activities that we are carrying out. For instance, if you want to, we have trained them on the establishment of three nurseries. So after that training, we planning some restoration activities. So in each village, we used to identify 10 persons in the number of 7% of women and 3% of men. The main of the project is basically to empower women status. So by involving maybe something, at least 3 men also to support the initiative.
I'm really happy that men are not left out. Usually, most organizations, most individuals go on and train women, and maybe especially on gender issues. And when women return home, men stop them going to the other activities simply because men are not aware of what should be done. Some men. I'll do that. Otherwise, thank you so much. I'm going to be inviting you back.
Okay.
But because of time, I want to first hear from other panelists.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Thank you
Ladies
very
and
much.
gentlemen,
Yeah.
can we give him a big hand clap? Okay. This is getting interesting. We are really looking at what each one of us is supposed to do. People who feel marginalized, what is our contribution? Next on our panelists, for now to have a balanced discussion, I will make a slight change. I know. I'll give somebody a few more minutes to prepare. Paul, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy Paul can hear me. Paul, since you're online, I just want, we shall switch on your video and I'll give a brief about you. Perhaps you can add something that I might have left out. As you see, Paul here is currently the YPAD country representative. He's also a certified knowledge management for agriculture development practitioner. He's the YPAD Ghana country representative and part of the policy working group of YPAD, and also part of the Youth for Soil member with cash. Did I do that right?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah,
I
that's
see.
good.
The smile tells it that I did it right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe Paul, coming back to you, how can I want you to really tell us how can indigenous communities safeguard their knowledge systems in the face of external pressure like commercialization of all land grabbing? Those challenges are really happening in most of our communities. And as somebody who has worked so much in the knowledge exchange field, I know you have a lot to tell us. So please, the panel is yours.
All right. Thank you very much, and then thank you for, I mean, everyone that is attending this meeting, and thank for the opportunity, as we are not there physically. But then I think the most important thing for us is that indigenous knowledge are very crucial in our life, and this knowledge have been passed on to us as a young people. And as we go forward for the restoration effort, we need to make sure that we integrate this knowledge to restoration issue that will help us to achieve, I mean, long-lasting ecological perspective, and then also give us a sound solution working on this knowledge perspective in terms of restoration. And one of the key things is that we always need to bridge the gap between the ancient information and then the modern science. If we intend to work closely to our indigenous practices, and we believe that communities are very key in terms of partnership in whatever we do in our restoration effort. And one of those key that projects, project and then to build a local ecosystem, we need to build upon that system that are demanding in our culture, value or cultural abilities. And then also, how do we do that? We need to be open up. We need people who are working in the ecosystem to be open up to our indigenous perspective, our local authority, so that the appreciation of our knowledge may not be lost. And one key thing that I think we also need to work on, or we have been working on, is that how well do we document this ecological research when we are conducting our researches? And then also, how do we muchly involve our rural folk in terms of the knowledge perspective? So for me, I think that when we are able to embrace the appropriate culture in terms of how do we establish that respective open dialogue, how do we document and validate some of this knowledge, it will help us in restoration solution, which are key for us as a young people, and then it's help us to salvaguard our planet in that regard.
Wow, that's so amazing. And I really love the fact that you're calling for development of culturally demanded systems in communities and by governments and other stakeholders. And also you're calling on for openness to indigenous knowledge. So people should have an open mind to welcoming. Science is very important, research is very important. Innovation is very important, but let's be very open to indigenous knowledge. And I love the fact that because I work so much in policy and advocacy, you're looking at involvement of indigenous people in decision-making processes. So there's nothing more than that, because people have to own these decisions that are made by decision makers. Thank you so much, Paul. I'll be coming back to you in a minute.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, next on our panel, like I told you, we're getting people from different parts of the world. Paul is from Ghana. Wilfred is from Benin. Now, we need to hear an experience from Madagascar. So perhaps I'll welcome our next panelist, Miss Sambatra Kezia. So come and join me. Okay. Happy to meet you, Miss Sambatra.
Nice to meet you too, Arjuna. Thank you for giving me the floor.
Okay, I know.
Oh.
She has to be calm, very calm, like. So, Sambatra, maybe first tell us, I can read your bio if you want me to do so, but I'll be happy to hear it from you personally. If I could ask, again, you're not on the spot, so it's not an interview. Who is Sambatra?
It's okay, it's okay. So I'm Sambatra Kezia Rakutumanga from Madagascar, and I'm the country representative of White Part in Madagascar. So I have been involved in youth organizations for 3 years now, and White Part is one of them, but I'm also part of the Youth in Landscape Initiative by the Global Landscape Forum. And also I was part of the Youth Initiative of the UN Decade of Restoration.
Okay, that's a very brief bio. Maybe I also want to know, I know you work with the Youth Alliance on Biodiversity in Madagascar. So could you tell us briefly about that?
All right, so it's ICA, the ICA Alliance, the Malagasy Youth Alliance on Biodiversity, Climate, and Combating Desertification. So the Alliance is mostly, it serves as a platform for youth organizations and also youth-led businesses to work into those 3 thematic areas, because in Madagascar, there are a lot of youth organizations, but they are all working each in their corner, and we decided to join forces to have more impact, and we did.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm really happy to know about that. Maybe now back, I'll not keep you into your bio because I have it here and it's for huge. So we may not finish it. And maybe Sambatra, we need to really hear from you. How can cross, because we come from different areas and all of that. How can cross-border collaboration address shared challenges like desertification and ecosystem degradation in the regional contexts?
All right. Coming from a country who has the sea as borders, I will take the lessons learned from the African continent. So since we know that the problems of desertification and degradation are spans to a large region, so the countries share resources like land, forest, desert, rivers, and those resources need effective management that require cooperation between nations and communities. So we here are mostly talking about restoring land. For example, ecosystems, forest, lands, and other type of ecosystems, even water. They share their extent are beyond political borders, and they necessitate coordinated management strategies. Most of us has flown planes to come here, and maybe you have noticed when flying that sometimes you can clearly see the differences between countries because their management is different. I remember when I was in South Africa and we flew above Zimbabwe, we can clearly see the demarcation between them. One has forests, the other had degraded lands. And yet the ecosystem is the same. So we need to have joint initiative to preserve the ecosystem. And another example is the Great Green Wall Initiative in the Sahel region. And this initiative aims at a mosaic of green productive landscape across 11 countries. And this project exemplifies how nations can collaborate to restore ecosystems while creating jobs, improving food security, and enhancing biodiversity. So it acts as a model showing how cross-border efforts can lead to significant ecological and socioeconomic benefits. And then we also talked about marginalized communities. So it is important to include marginalized communities into those initiatives because sometimes their inside experiences can also significantly contribute to the designing of the solutions. Sometimes their knowledge and perspective are already the solutions that we are seeking. And also when communities come together to tackle challenges, they can more effectively mobilize resources, drive political will, and foster resilience in facing environmental challenges like desertification. Because when we are together, we share resources, knowledge, and innovation, which can amplify the impact of regional strategies. That's a short version of it, but we can also talk about the issues in territories like economic territory delimitation, social delimitations that can all affect the actions we have on the field.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
that's so amazing. Thank you very much, Sambatra. Maybe again, I'm not putting you on the spot. There is something I would want you to discuss. It's not related to that question, but I really know it would be important for people to hear. I understand you're implementing one of the agroecology projects in the country, in Madagascar. And I know it's really very important in terms of the ecosystem when it comes to agroecology. So in your project, just tell us a brief about it. What do you do in that project and how are you doing it?
Okay, so WebPart has been part of the project, the GPSI project, and the role of WebPart in the project is mostly to do communication and involve youth in the transformation of agroecology. So I have been on the field. I had the opportunity to participate to some activities with the other partners that are not in the activities we are meant to do, but they invited us. And being in close contact with the people on the field, we were able to talk with them and adjust our action to their problems and their needs. For example, one of the regions we're working with, people there have lands from 1 hectare to 2 hectares. Although from the entire Madagascar, most people have only a few hours of land. So we had to apply a different dynamic, different principles, because they were planting crops on a large scale. That meant we needed to find new ways to implement agroecology, because most of the models in the countries were based on small farming, yet the people in their regions were large scale. Yeah.
That's amazing and really happy about that. Thank you so much, Sabatra. For now, because of time, I'll make you take your seat as we move to the next speaker. Can we please give her a very huge hand clap? Okay. Thank you. Our next panelist, we have two more panelists, and we shall try to manage time. He's Daniel Chiseka. Daniel, I'll request you to turn on your video. He's Daniel Chiseka. Daniel Chiseka is a Ugandan entrepreneur dedicated to empowering farmers and rural communities. As a co-founder and chief operating officer of NutraVest, he provides farmers with tools like early warning systems, market access, and affordable agriculture insurance, helping them to increase income and build resilience against climate change. Daniel is also the director of Green Without Borders Uganda, a social enterprise that provides organic, gluten-free, and nutritious food products under the brand Mugala Naturals. These products are designed to address malnutrition, anemia, and non-communicable diseases, and are particularly beneficial for diabetes. Daniel, if you can hear us, having read your bio, it's really very interesting. I just have a quick question for you. In your personal opinion or in your view, what incentives could governments provide to the private sector? Because from what you've just told us, you're in the private sector. What incentives could governments provide to the private sector to encourage investments in inclusive land restoration projects? Over to you, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Juna. For starters, I'm going to start with the very big fact that is happening in the country. You spoke about it, which is empowerment. The country has focused mostly on empowering the girl child, and they've abandoned the boy child. What does that mean? In Uganda, most of the land is owned mostly by the male gender, and these are the people that are not being empowered. Yet, when it comes to things like agriculture, practices like agriculture, women have led the revolution in agriculture. They have done all the hard work, and the men are mostly beneficiaries. So when a woman is practicing an agricultural enterprise, or now we have what you call customary land, where it is owned by a bigger person, but you can get a plot of it, and then you can be paying annual fees to as a co-owner of the land.
Daniel,
Such
network is
practices have really made women vulnerable.
Daniel, perhaps you could switch off your video because of network. Then we could maybe be in position to hear you. Okay. Because of Daniel's network, we shall come back to him. So we need to really move because of time. We don't really have minutes to really spare. Daniel will be coming back in a short while, but for now, I will request to invite our next panel. Uganda is really very well represented. So I'm really happy about that. Our next panel is Miss Auma Teddy. She's going to be joining us on stage here. And really, let's get to hear from her. Now, just like for the other panelists, not to put you on the spot. I know who you are. Your name is Auma Teddy. But please, who are you in reality? And what you want people to hear, who is Teddy?
Thank you so much, Tadeo. Like he already said, I'm Marietta Diauma. Fortunately for me, he knows me already, but for the rest of the house, Marietta Diauma is an environment scientist by training. I have a bias in conservation and remote sensing. And I lead community-driven restoration projects in Uganda through Tree Adoption Uganda. And I am a member of UNCCD and an unofficial member of YPAD. And I look forward to joining YPAD.
Thank you. That's so interesting, and welcome you to be part of YPAD. I really understand, Teddy, like you talked about, you have a bias in remote sensing, restoration, and all of that. We just really need to know, because we are looking at collective efforts, what each one of us is doing. So we really want to hear from you. What are you doing as an individual, as your organization when it comes to restoration efforts, in terms of what communities are doing in terms of fighting drought resilience?
So as Tree Adoption Uganda, we normally do community-based restoration efforts or agroforestry as well. So we go into our communities in different parts of Uganda and engage the community into planting trees. But after planting these trees, we don't just stop at planting the trees. We map the trees using remote sensing, and then we use a platform called Restore Platform to upload the different polygons for different sites, so that we're able to monitor the different projects we have done. Today, I'm glad we have one of the Restore Platform officials with us, and maybe if given a chance, he could talk more about the Restore Platform, because it's really helped us to monitor all our projects within the communities. And it enables us to be able to have hands-on evidence of what we're doing, and also to be able to, when we go to our governments, being young people, we actually have the evidence to say this is what we did in, say, Luwero district, and this is how far the project has come. So that is a brief of what we do. On top of that, we also educate the community members in what we call environmental education. We tell them about our changing climate and how they can be a part of that. We also include the children in that.
That's so amazing. So maybe you've told us he's into the technology you're using.
Yes, please.
But so how have you found it so far? Because I understand there are so many challenges when it comes to us using technologies, especially people from developing countries. The literacy rates are so low. When it comes to electricity, it's really difficult. Now, people using remote sensing, I don't know even how it works, but perhaps I'll hear from him how it works. So how are you finding it?
For us, it has been so far very good. It's very user-friendly. You just need to have the location of where you did the initiative, and then you enter the location into the Restore platform, and it will just automatically take you there. And it's you're able to draw a polygon of the site. And so with the polygons of the site, then you can easily backtrack your effort. You can look at how the site was maybe 1 year ago, and then you can also look at it maybe 2 years from when you did the project. So it's very user-friendly. And it has been so far so good for us.
Okay, that's so amazing. I'm really happy to hear about that. And given that we come from the same country, so I can really feel and relate. And I actually love what you're doing because I know we can see where we are heading. It's really impressive. Now on that note, I think I'll give him just 1 minute. Oh, okay, I'll give him 2. To just be fair, I'll give him 2 minutes to really tell us what the Restore platform is about. And then I know we have colleagues online, people will get to know what it does, but please keep it 2 minutes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you very much. This is a nice surprise. I wasn't expecting to talk. Yeah, so Restore, www.restore.eco. It's a free open data platform for the bottom-up movement. So anyone and everyone around the world can access it. The initial idea around Restore was we just wanted to democratize the global data set. So anyone could jump on the internet, upload a site, and access free ecological insights about their restoration efforts. So it's all layered with these global data sets, and you can get some amazing data like what you were describing before, which is the satellite imagery, which dates back to 2011, and it has up to 30 centimeters resolutions in some places. So you can really see how your land is changing over time. And this provides it with transparency. If you want to report to your stakeholders or your funders, you can give them that visibility where the work's taking place. Now, another really important thing to note as well, you know, we have built the platform as well. One of our missions is to facilitate more financial flows into grassroots projects. So by being on the platform and just by having your project on there, you could access more funding opportunities. And it's something that we're working with our funding partners, our corporate impact funding partners, about linking them to these incredible projects that are happening on the ground. And one thing I really quickly wanted to note was about the data accessibility. Yeah, obviously Restore it's a platform. It's you normally will access it through desktop computer, but it is optimized to mobile. And we do understand the restraints of internet in some locations around the world. This is why eventually we would like to make it into an app, so you could upload your site offline, and it become more accessible to those really important indigenous and community-led projects that are out there around the world.
Wow, that's so amazing. I'm really happy to know about it, and I hope to come possibly. You have a pavilion around?
We've been over at the G20 pavilion, yeah, but we are, so tomorrow at 6 p.m. we're going to be announcing a prize, an NGO prize awards, that we're partnering with the G20 GLI. So we invite you to come, and the prize will be open as of tomorrow, and it will run until the end of February. And the idea is it's to kind of, it's a prize fund for NGO projects who can apply.
Okay, that's really so amazing. And I hope most of us, if not all, will be there. Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me to the session. Thank you very much.
Okay, Teddy, I really thank you so much for being part of this, and thank you for sharing your experience. It's really amazing. I request you take your seat. For the few minutes that are really left, I want us to look at, as young people, we have a stake to put. We have efforts to make when it comes to land restoration, when it comes to climate change, when it comes to addressing desertification. And as young people under WIPAD, we developed a position paper. This is our position as WIPAD, a position of the young people comprised of those from the marginalized communities, those who really feel they are marginalized, rural communities, indigenous communities. They all had input into this position paper. So I'll request to project that. It's as we wait for him to project it, I will just remind us about what YPAD is. YPAD, I'll remind you, is the young professionals in agriculture development. Most of our work is tailored into agriculture. So we're a network of young people for young people. It's young people supporting each other. When you're above 35, definitely you become, sorry, yes. When you're above 35, you automatically become an elder, an advisor. So the membership, now you leave it to the young people. This is our position paper that for the UNCCD COP16. We think desertification driven by climate change, deforestation, and unsustainable agriculture practices threatens approximately 41% of the Earth's surface and impacts the livelihoods of around 2 billion people. That's a very big number, with youth, women, and local communities being the most affected. The degradation exacerbates inequalities, triggering challenges such as migration, loss of education, food insecurity, reduced income, and increased vulnerability to violence, particularly of marginalized groups. We can see there are UNCCD mandates and gaps. Looking at the UNCCD, it mandates participation of local populations, particularly women and youth, in combating desertification, and emphasizes capacity building, gender equality, and coordination with related conventions like the UNFCCC. However, global implementation remains insufficient, necessitating stronger commitments from all stakeholders. So each of us has an input to make. So these are our recommendations for COP16. We recommend this. I would say we also demand for them because some of them are our rights. So we don't have to just recommend a right, we have to demand for it. But others, we shall make recommendations. In anticipation of this COP now, which we are having, we recommend the need to prioritize policy integration and inclusion. This should ensure youth, women, and indigenous representation in land policies with gender-sensitive approaches and measurable progress indicators. We understand something is being done, but it's not what we need to be done. More should be done. Another recommendation we're making is funding mechanisms. There is need to create accessible funding for youth, women, and indigenous-led restoration efforts and support their participation in global decision-making processes and forums. Most of us are here because we've been supported, but not so many people would have been here to be supported. But even when we are making our ideas heard, we are making our voices heard, we need them to be put into consideration, not just coming here to speak and be used for accountability. That, you know, now these days, most organizations are writing reports and at the end of each line, they put with 60% and 70% being youth and women respectively. We need to stop being used for accountability report purposes, but practicality. If we come here and speak, don't talk that we participated. If we came to participate, what actually did we say that is put into consideration? It's not just about us coming to attend and go. Then research and knowledge exchange. There is need to promote co-creation of knowledge, gender disaggregated data, and youth-led innovations to advance sustainable land management. When you look at as the young people in agriculture, we recommend that there should be monitoring and accountability. There's need to develop inclusive indicators to track the participation and empowering of youth, women, and indigenous communities in empowering desertification. Number 5, there's we demand we recommend capacity building. As we see, there is need to equip youth, women, and indigenous groups with technical skills through education, mentorship, and tailored training in sustainable land initiatives. Our recommendation number 7 is local community engagement. There's need to support community-led initiatives, ensure local participation, and provide financial and technical assistance for sustainable practices. I understand as many organizations are doing something, but I think there is more to be done when it comes to land restoration and desertification management. Our recommendation number 8 is gender equality in land restoration. There is need to address gender disparities by securing land rights and empowering women and youth in sustainable land management. There are 2 more recommendations, and one of them is traditional knowledge. There is need to respect, protect, and integrate indigenous and local knowledge systems into national and global strategies for combating desertification. I repeat, research is really very important. Science is really very important, but we need to keep in mind traditional knowledge. There are things we used to do, and we still need to do them from the traditions. I tell people, coming from a farming background, we used to do agroecology. But the reality is, I tell people that we used to do agroecology by accident because we didn't really know about the term agroecology, but the practices we were doing were in reality agroecology. When it comes to basics like crop rotation, cover cropping, and all those things, we used to do them, and we are still doing them. But it's the terminologies that have come. So it's just advancing our traditional knowledge. Number 10, community-led restoration. There's need to support initiatives combining traditional knowledge with modern science to restore ecosystems through agroecology and agroforestry. We have our whiteboard position paper, which is about 45 pages. And I cannot tell you that I can read 45 pages to you here. It would be frustrating, very boring to some of you, but I know good things are always boring. It is the nice things that are always interesting. So every good thing is sometimes boring, but so you can find our position paper, a full one, on our YPAD website. It's just clicking YPAD.net, and then you'll find this position paper. To just make it clear, this position paper was drafted by the UNCCD subgroup, where I am the focal person. So we have policy working groups under YPAD that really work on policy-related matters relating to agriculture, climate change, and things to do with young people. So this was our YPAD position paper. I understand we might not have Daniel back, and we have a few minutes left. So in this context, I want to hear from each one of us. Only those who have not had a chance to speak. Perhaps to tell us something they're doing in relation to land restoration. Because I believe land restoration is everyone's effort. It's not a YPAD effort. It's not an individual's effort. I've heard from my colleagues there, they are doing something and I'm happy. So I'm not putting anyone on the spot. So if I give you this mic and you feel uncomfortable to speak, it's okay, it's normal. Just pass it on to your neighbor. So you have 1 minute each to really tell us what you're doing, because most forums we go to, we are not given a platform to know, and we all move out, yet the person next to you is the person you've been looking for the past previous years. So I'll start from here, your name and what you do, then you can pass it on. If you already talked, please just pass it on to your neighbor.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Bright Jumbo. I'm working for ICRISAT. ICRISAT is the International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics. My focus is on breeding. I'm a plant breeder. I focus on sorghum breeding. I lead the sorghum improvement program in Africa. So yes, at ICRISAT, we have a program that looks at the production systems for resilience, food, and the farm production systems. And we have a lot of work on land restoration happening in Ethiopia. So if you go to ICRISAT website, you'll find a lot of work, a lot of publications about land restoration in Ethiopia. Thank you.
Wow, that's so amazing. Thank you so much. So I request you to pass it on to your neighbor. If the neighbor talked, she needs to just pass it on to the next neighbor. If the next neighbor talked, pass it on. Because I want someone who hasn't.
No, I think it's cooperating. Yeah, my name is Kage Maso. I work for CGIAR. I'm the director of the Impact Platform on Environmental Health and Biodiversity. First of all, congratulations to the youth to have selected the CGIAR Pavilion to come and join us. You probably know it, but it does not harm to repeat. We have 5 impact areas at CGIAR, which are quite interesting for youth. And one of them includes youth. So the first one is about food security, nutrition, and health. The second one is about gender, youth, and social inclusion. The third one is about poverty reduction, livelihoods, and job. The fourth one is the environmental health and biodiversity, which I'm responsible for, and the good reason I'm around. And the fourth one is about climate adaptation and mitigation. Why I told you the whole story is because I really was happy to listen to you. And I'm very, very proud of your position paper, which is 35 pages, as you just said. So before, probably you have already done it, but if you have not done it yet, my key recommendation is to come up with a 2-pager of your 35 pages, because majority of the people, including myself, don't simply have that physical time to read 35 pages. But how do you make sure that the key story you want to tell, you can say it in 2 pages? But that is not really the reason that I've accepted the microphone. For me, first of all, is to congratulate you and to make sure that in the recommendation, the position paper, you have put significant responsibilities of the youth. It's a time for us to move from commitment to actions. And we have to avoid waiting for the others to do it. We need to take responsibilities. So as a youth, before you leave this scope, what is your major commitment? I have passed the generation of youth, so I would not like to sit in your spot because it's a tough one. We have messed up several things as the old generation, and we want you to sort it out. So what are really the key actions you want to take as a youth, and what are the things you want to take us as responsible? As long as we're still around and contributing, how do you make sure that we are accountable so that we can really do what we can do to be able to restore, give you a nice land that you can use to meet the 17 Sustainable Development Goals or the 5 impact areas of CGIAR, and make sure that you take your responsibilities so that you are also going to leave a better land to the next generation, not only to your children, but your grandchildren. What are the responsibilities you want to take? I used to lead a program on empowering youth in agribusiness. I will not lie to you, my young generation, to get the youth and get them to motivate them in that sector is not an easy one, but it was youth in agribusiness. They are making money, but some of the restoration, you have to be very, very patient. Restoration work, they will improve our livelihoods, but it's a kind of relatively, it could be a short, it can be a long journey. How do we make sure that we are patient as a youth to make things happen, especially as we think about the next generation? I can lecture for the whole day, but let me pause here, and I wish really we can exchange contacts so we keep interacting on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, he'll be the last one.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Okay, you passing it on? Okay, since I said you are the last one, you pass it back to me. Yeah.
So let me talk.
Okay.
More. So I'm Crispin Gakanis. I'm a young climate change activist. I'm from DR Congo, working with Climate Visions and the UNCCD Earth Caucus members. I had so many challenges with English. So DRC is a French country. I tried to learn English. So I'm very, very proud of you and of your iPad and about your objective programs and what you do as a youth to increase land restoration issues, to struggle against climate change, to struggle against climate crisis. It's very, very amazing work. And I wish you, even if in the next futures, let us connect more in order to build a great network about youth working in climate action by the world. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I really appreciate that. So for now, I really thank everybody who came in. Colleagues online, apologies, we've not given you a platform to speak, but we have several YPAD social media handles. Feel free to always reach out. Our email is info@ypad.net. So as simple as that. So just go to either our website, ypad.net. As simple as that. YPAD is YPARD. So for now, I'll request us to come and have a photo together for whoever is in the room. So we shall all stand here. So I request us to come for a group photo. And I'll request the cameraman to just show the front of our position paper. Sorry, how they call? We just want the upper part of this position paper. No. The first, okay, continue. Continue. Okay, that's this. So I want us to pause in front of this and have a group photo. So I request the cameraman to also use our phone here to take our photo in addition to his official camera.